No one at the Atlas Institute ever took the Atlas archive seriously. It was just a myth, an abandoned underground storage room sealed off since the 70s. They said it was filled with nothing but moldy boxes and documents that time had forgotten, but that was about to change. One night, the digital archaeology study group decided to test their brand new radio wave scanner. They were hoping to map some old forgotten tunnels, maybe find a few artifacts. They never expected something to answer back. The signal wasn't from a nearby mountain or from space. It was coming from right beneath their feet. At first, it was just a faint echo, a ghost in the machine. Then it sharpened into a rhythmic pulse, almost like a language. Les, the most skeptical one in the group, leaned over the console, her brow furrowed. She fine-tuned the frequency, her fingers flying across the keys. Okay, this is weird. The signal is coming from 800 meters straight down. There's nothing excavated that deep. Their assistant professor, Gail Vargas, frowned, staring at the oscillating waves on the screen. Unless someone buried something down there. Something they didn't want found. Just as he said it, the frequency locked. The chaotic static vanished, replaced by a clean, sharp signal. A voice crackled through the headphones. It was metallic, ancient, like it had traveled across entire eras to reach them. Atlas archives activated. Return sequence initiated. The four of them just stared at each other, their hearts pounding in the silent lab. The voice wasn't finished. It grew louder, more urgent. You have little time. They have returned. And they want what they left with you. Before anyone could process the words, the floor began to tremble. A thin crack shot across the concrete like a bolt of lightning. The campus seismic alarm blared to life, but the readings were all wrong. This wasn't an earthquake. The epicenter was internal, right below them, as if something massive was trying to push its way up from the depths of the earth. The scanner's monitor flickered, displaying fragments of corrupted data. Strange, curved symbols and inverted spirals filled the screen patterns none of them had ever seen before. Except for one. Theo's face went completely pale. "I've seen these," he whispered, his voice barely audible. In the old, unclassified files from the 1950s, they called it the first species. In a shower of sparks, the scanner exploded. The lights went out, plunging the lab into absolute darkness. And from the dead speakers, one final, chilling whisper echoed in the blackness. "They're coming back for you. Because you are the last descendants, open the Atlas archive." Before they open it for you, the emergency generator sputtered on, casting long, dancing shadows across the room. A fine dust was raining down from a fresh crack in the ceiling. Without a word, they scrambled out of the lab and down to the lower maintenance corridor. There it was. A heavy, rusted metal door with faded letters stenciled across it. Atlas archive access blocked. Theo rushed to a keypad next to the door, one that was supposed to be inactive. His fingers flew across the worn buttons, typing in a code he clearly had no business knowing. With a groan of rusted metal, the door creaked open. The air that rushed out was stale, cold, and smelled of ozone and dust. The room inside looked less like an archive and more like a military bunker. Metal shelves lined the walls, holding strange glass capsules. Thick cables, looking like they'd been frantically cut decades ago, snaked across the floor. And in the very center of the room, resting on a pedestal, was a black obsidian-like cylinder. Etched onto its surface was the same double spiral symbol from the scanner, the one that made Theo look like he'd seen a ghost. Les was the first to move, her flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. "Professor, what is this place?" Theo took a deep, shaky breath, as if finally deciding to confess a secret that could change everything they knew. "This isn't archaeology," he said, his voice heavy. "This is containment." He reached out and touched the surface of the cylinder. It immediately reacted. Bright, alien runes flared to life, glowing with an internal blue light. Thousands of years ago, Theo continued, before any human civilization, there was another dominant species on this planet. They weren't aliens. They were from here, and they were far, far more advanced than us. As he spoke, the cylinder silently opened. A shimmering bluish mist poured out, swirling and coalescing in the air as if it were alive. The mist formed into a hologram, a tall, faceless humanoid figure made of pure, pulsating light. A voice echoed not from the figure, but directly inside their minds. "You broke the seal of memory. Now you must listen." The room trembled again, more violently this time, but the hologram remained steady. "We were the first ones. We built oceans, controlled the climate, shaped continents. We created you as a continuation of our legacy, but we failed." Luz's eyes were wide with disbelief. "Created humanity?" The voice in their heads confirmed it. "Yes, and that is why they are coming back. The gatherers. The other half of our species, the ones who chose to consume everything they could not control." Theo swallowed hard. That part was erased from all the records. The hologram turned its featureless head towards him. "Because you were not ready, but now they are awakening." From the far end of the corridor they had just come down, a sound scraped against the concrete, a wet, dragging sound. Something big. It was uneven, like something with too many legs, or dragging parts that shouldn't be there. The hologram shone brighter. "Do not look directly at them. They take the form of what they see." Les instinctively clicked off her flashlight, but Nate, another student, hesitated for a split second too long. In the dim emergency light, they saw them. Distorted, undulating silhouettes shuffling into the bunker. They looked like malformed clay, trying and failing to imitate the human form. Theo grabbed the students, pulling them back. "Don't let them touch you." The creatures advanced, their strange movements seeming to bend the very air around them. They had no eyes, no faces, but you could feel them staring. Each one was a grotesque parody of a person, its anatomy all wrong. Then one of them stopped. Its fluid body shifted, tightened, and solidified until it took the perfect form of Luz. But her face was a blank mask. Her eyes were empty, black pits. The creature spoke with Luz's voice, but it was torn and scratched, like a broken recording. "You should not have opened the seal." The real Luz stumbled back, paralyzed with terror as her perfect soulless duplicate advanced with synchronized, robotic steps. It was a living mirror of her worst nightmare. The hologram suddenly intervened, emitting a high-frequency sound wave that made the monstrous mimics writhe in agony. "You cannot defeat them," the voice urged in their minds. "You must run," but it was too late. The wall behind them cracked, then exploded inwards in a shower of earth and concrete. Something far larger was forcing its way in. A colossal body made of liquid shadow, with those same spiral markings glowing on its skin like open wounds. The hologram's voice was urgent. "This is the primordial, the leader of the gatherers. It has come to reclaim what we left with you." Theo's gaze fell to the black cylinder at his feet. "My God," the hologram confirmed his terror. "Yes, you carry the last seed of our species." The primordial advanced, and the world around it seemed to die. It sucked in the light, the sound, the heat. The black cylinder floated up from the floor, activated by the colossal being's presence. It opened further, revealing a small, luminescent sphere hovering within it, pulsing with inorganic light. Nate's voice trembled. "What is that?" The hologram answered. "The final genetic matrix of the first species. The only way to rebuild what we were, and the only weapon capable of stopping the gatherers." The primordial let out a roar that wasn't sound, but a physical force that shook reality itself. The mimic creatures began to melt, flowing back towards their leader and merging into its shadowy form. Love stepped forward, her fear replaced by a strange resolve. "If it's a weapon, how do we use it?" The hologram's light flickered. You do not use it. You activate it. But only one with a direct lineage to the first species can do so. Theo's eyes widened in realization. That means, yes, the hologram confirmed. Among you is a direct descendant, Les Nate, and the others looked at each other, their faces a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. Who? The primordial roared again, opening a jaw that defied all known biology. In that instant, the glowing sphere shot out from the cylinder. It hovered in the air between the four of them for a breathtaking second, and then it chose. The light plunged directly into Les's chest. She screamed not in pain, but in revelation. It was as if 1,000,000,000 years of ancestral memory were flooding her mind all at once. Her eyes changed, the pupils swirling into the double spiral pattern. When she spoke, her voice was different, layered, as if a chorus of ancient voices were speaking through her. I remember. I am the heir of the first species. The hologram bowed its head of light before her, then daughter of the first ones. Choose. The primordial lunged, ready to devour them all.